Hello, let me introduce McDonald's and Lotteria for business case analysis. I will introduce our team, management information, 임유엽, 서진수, accounting, 엄지민, 서재우. Let me present the case analysis of McDonald's and Lotteria business. Lotteria failed to enter China. Lotteria's entry into the Vietnamese market was successful. However, it failed to enter the Chinese market. Why did Lotteria fail in the Chinese market? Let me introduce the table of contents. 1. Introduction to Lotteria. 2. Lotteria's entry the Chinese market. 3. SWOT analysis. 4. STP analysis. 5. 4P analysis. 6. 3C analysis. 7. Business performance. 8. Lotteria's failure factor. 9. Conclusion. I will introduction to Lotteria. Lotteria, founded as part of Lotte Group's fast food business, opened its first store at Takashimaya department store in Tokyo in September 1972, surpassed its 100th store in 1977, followed by its 200th store in August 1979, and began to explode throughout Japan and Korea. Korea's first Lotteria chain opened at Lotte department store in Sogongdong, Seoul in 1979 and set a record of exceeding 400 stores for the first time in the industry in 1998. It opened its 800th store in July 2002 and is showing the strongest core capabilities in the distribution industry. Lotteria's entry into the Chinese market. Lotteria opened its first Beijing store in China in 1994. It gradually increases its number of stores, gaining popularity. Centering on the early term, Abuzuki Bean Ice. Lotteria operated 5 stores in Beijing and 2 stores in Harbin. However, Lotteria's failed and all stores were closed in 2003. Since then, it has opened its first Wangfu branch in 2008 and is attempting to enter the Chinese market again. SWOT analysis of Lotteria's entry into the Chinese market. 1. Strengths. Lotteria has a lot of know-how for localization. Based on that experience, China will also have a relative advantage in localization strategies, as it ranks first in sales in Korea. This image will also serve as a strength in the Chinese market. 2. Opportunity. As China's economy grows rapidly, Chinese demand for fast food also increases. As the Korean wave began to rise in China, the number of Chinese people who are familiar with Korean companies increased. 3. Weakness. It consists of menus and sets similar to other multinational fast food companies such as McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC. So there is no clear distinction. Also, it has relatively low recognition compared to other competing multinationals. The price is similar to that of other companies. 4. Threat. Multinational companies such as McDonald's and KFC, which enter the Chinese market first, have high brand awareness and brand goodwill. As a latecomer to enter the market, he needs more marketing costs and time than other global companies. In other words, there's a lot of risk. STP analysis of Lotteria's entry into the Chinese market. 1. S. Segmentation. Lotteria chooses young people in large cities as its main consumer. In general, fast food restaurants have a variety of customers as consumers. Therefore, Lotteria does not seem to have characteristics in segmenting the market. 2. T. Targeting. It will expand its stores mainly in large cities such as Beijing and Shanghai, where the floating population is large and the existing restaurant industry is somewhat developed. 3. P. Positioning. Since the mid-1990s, it has emphasized the image of the Korean way familiar to the Chinese public, instilling the perception that Lotteria is a sensuous and sophisticated fast food restaurant from Korea. 4P analysis of Lotteria's entry into the Chinese market. 4P means 4 factors that managers can control in marketing. 1. Product. It was a menu with a similar composition to its rival McDonald's. However, they tried to develop new menus tailored to the taste of Chinese people, such as developing and releasing burgers using azuki bean, ice, and duck meat. 2. Price. It maintained a similar price range to other competitors. 3. Promotion. Using the Korean Wave, a CD of a popular Korean singer was present and a Join Korea Chinese advertisement was presented on Beijing TV. 4. Place. The entry method was in the form of a franchise that established a local corporation called Beijing Lotteria in 2000 and contracted Chinese as franchises. The product was sold through Lotteria stores and the number of stores was secured through the franchise method. 3C analysis of Lotteria's entry into the Chinese market. 3C means customer, competition, company. 1. Customer. China's rapid urbanization due to rapid economic growth has come as an opportunity for Chinese customers to change their lifestyle, breaking away from traditional eating and lifestyle habits in the past. Chinese customers in large cities have similar lifestyle habits to those in western cities. This served as a stepping stone for the development of the fast food industry. Lotteria's strategy to open centered on Beijing and Shanghai in entering the Chinese market was in the above context. 2. Competition. KFC has already 21 years of history in China since its opening in Beijing in 1987. KFC has been thinking from the standpoint of China and having an idea that harmonizes well with life. Currently, KFC was already opened in 2,100 branches in 450 cities in China. It is the largest and fastest development company in China's fast food company. McDonald's 670 stores surpassed 25 provinces and cities in China. McDonald's continues to open branches with importance on the Chinese market. Currently, the number of employees exceeds 5 million and the total investment exceeds $500 million. On October 8, 1990, the first branch was opened in Shenzhen, China. 3. Company. Lotteria was established under the name of Beijing Naturally Food Limited in collaboration with Korea Lotteria, Japan Lotteria, and China. As Lotteria begins its entry into China, Lotteria will establish an overseas division consisting of 12 departments and one team, one office for early settlement and long-term development of industries in China. Preparation work was carried out for Lotteria's future store expansion and continuous management. Business performance. The Financial Supervisory Service announced in April 2030 that Lotteria's subsidiary Beijing Lotteria recorded sales of 5.4 billion won and net loss of 10 billion won last year. Beijing Lotteria's deficit is increasing year by year, and its financial structure is shaking to the extent that its debt ratio also reaches 950%. Lotteria, which opened at the same time as Lotte department store in 2008 and settled on the first basement floor of the department store, accelerated its development of overseas markets by opening its 40th store in China as of 2011. However, the strategy of opening hundreds of stores initially faced limitations. In 2040, the Chinese market continued to remain sluggish. Beijing Lotteria, which said it had no operating profit in the Chinese market, which was rechallenged in 2008, but was comforting due to increased sales and reduced losses, recorded 4 billion won in sales, 3.4 billion won in operating losses, and 5.3 billion won in net losses in 2030. Although it improved compared to 9.9 billion won in net loss last year, it was lost face of the nation's number one fast food brand. The recurring deficit of Beijing Lotteria, which escaped from capital erosion due to a paid-in capital increases in 2011, is bound to be fatal. Let's see chart of the performance by overseas subsidiaries. Vietnam Lotteria sales 491 and operating profit is 33, and the others operating profit is or minus at 2013, but 2040 all stores are deficit reduction is increased. And let's see current status of Lotteria overseas branches. As of 2012, Vietnam 116, China 27, Indonesia 7. Now we need to know Lotteria's failure factor. 1. Lack of systematic preparation. In order for franchise companies to enter overseas markets, they must first establish business models and brand awareness that can compete in overseas markets. To this end, the business must be verified to some extent through operations in the domestic market, and the system must be firmly organized. In addition, since there is no guarantee that a successful business model in Korea will succeed overseas, careful research and analysis of overseas market should be accompanied, and localization strategies tailored to local market conditions should also be carefully established. In addition, long-term investment is required to achieve results abroad, and for this, financial investment capacity is required. This means that the success of overseas expansion requires primary verification of the business model, detailed investigation and entry strategies for overseas markets, and sufficient financial power. 2. Lack of overseas experts. Even if the franchise system is well established, a franchise company that used to run a business basis on the domestic market needs specialized manpower for the market to conduct operations in overseas markets. These professionals must have knowledge of not only the language of the country, but also culture and market conditions, and furthermore, knowledge of local laws to perform contact negotiation and contracts with foreign companies. However, it is very difficult to secure this level of professional manpower in most franchise companies. This is because not only are there few professionals who have knowledge of local markets and franchises at the same time, but even with professionals, it is difficult to meet salaries and working conditions. 3. Failure to select overseas partners and build a consensus with them. It is very important to measure the experience or understanding of similar tasks when selecting local partners. In particular, if a good partner is selected and culture differences with the partner and not overcome and the consensus on business feasibility is not established, overseas business will inevitably face inefficiency and difficulties. 4. Focus on a specific market. Franchise companies' overseas expansion areas are mainly concentrated in China, the United States, and Southeast Asia. Since these regions are geographically close and economically close, they must be considered first when considering overseas expansion. But negative factors from regional bias should also be considered, as similar brands enter the same region competitively. Excessive competition among domestic brands can occur in overseas markets. Last conclusion. As shown in the case of China, there is no guarantee that a successful business model in Korea will succeed overseas. Therefore, in order to enter overseas markets, sufficient and detailed investigation and analysis of the market to be entered are required. In addition, I think it is necessary to establish a more systemic method and approach it in various ways in localization strategies. It is said that as China's current economic speed develops rapidly, their interested lies in well-being and health. Therefore, it may be a good way to develop a menu using various healthy grains and vegetables. Of course, this requires a lot of research in advance. In addition, since there is a huge Korean wave such as BTS and Squid Games, I think it is a good way to develop new items with advantages. Now I will introduce about McDonald's. Index 1. Introduction to McDonald's. 2. McDonald's entry into the Vietnam market. 3. SWOT analysis. 4. STP analysis. 5. 4P analysis. 6. 3C analysis. 7. Business performance. 8. McDonald's failure factor. 9. Conclusion. First, introduction to McDonald's. McDonald's opened its first Ho Chi Minh store in 2014. It gradually increases its number of stores, gaining popularity centering on the early term housekeeping ice. McDonald's is operating 19 stores in Vietnam and 10 of them are located in Ho Chi Minh City. However, they were not successful in Vietnam, also they were successful in other East Southern countries like Thailand. McDonald's entry into the Vietnam market. McDonald's is an American fast food company founded in 1940 as a restaurant operated by Richard and Maurice McDonald. In San Bernardino, California, United States, they rechristened their business as a hamburger stand and later turned the company into a franchise with the Golden Arches logo being introduced in 1943 at a location in Phoenix, Arizona. McDonald's is the world's largest restaurant chain by revenue, serving over 69 million customers daily in over 100 countries across 3 billion 7,855 outlets as of 2018. Now let's see about SWOT analysis. First, strengths. McDonald's is one of the most valuable brands in the entire world. Their brand value is very high, and they also have one of the most recognized logos. They are also taking the help of revolutionary technology to improve their products and services. McDonald's is also a multi-billion real estate empire, and hence they have a strong financial backup. 2. Opportunity. In Vietnam market, fast food is a potential market. Demand on the people in big cities are increasing. In recent years, growth rate of fast food market continue to increase. Nowadays, Vietnamese are more adept with taste of West. Almost people are trending use fast food by conventionally, especially majority young people in Vietnam. 3. Weakness. He is stated as of today, a Big Mac in Vietnam costs $2.82. A meal at a local Vietnamese restaurant costs around $2.156. So the price didn't appear to the Vietnamese. 4. Threat. High competitive with other brands. McDonald's will be high competitive with other big brands stay in Vietnam in long time such as KFC, Lotteria, Jollibee, Pizza Hut, Burger King, etc. Now I will tell you about STP analysis. First, segmentation. We classified our customers into 4 characteristics: geographic, demographical, behavioral, and psychographic. 2. Targeting. In Vietnam, McDonald's is targeted at the middle to upper class customer, with a Big Mac costing 6 million Vietnam dong, around US $3. A local banh mi sandwich of the street costs a fraction of that price, around 1 million to 2 million Vietnam dong, about US 1.5 to US $1. 3. Positioning. In Vietnam, McDonald's enters the market with the positioning of high price and high quality service. This can work at the beginning to create differentiation and create superior perception of the products and quality. 4P analysis about McDonald's. First, product. We found out that we have to satisfy different customers' preference and need to improve sales in specific region. 2. Price. We have to adapt prices according to the country and the location of the stores within the country. 3. Promotion. McDonald's have same brand name with the golden arches logo. Also, McDonald's made partnership with Walt Disney, Olympic, etc. 4. Place. McDonald's has 19 stores in Vietnam and most of them are located in Ho Chi Minh City. 3C analysis of McDonald's. First, consumer. Consumers in Vietnam is that they have habits of cook and eat at home. So they buy ingredients and cook at home with an equal or lower amount of money to serve themselves at home. Also in Vietnamese cuisine, rice is the staple and essential in every meal. Having rice with other dishes is the everyday meal in most Vietnamese family. 2. Competition. In the Vietnamese fast food industry, the industry of rivalry among the competitors is high. Before the opening of McDonald's in Vietnam, there was a competition between gigants such as KFC, Burger King, Lotteria, Jollibee, etc. These competitors compete not only the price, the quality of food, and the variety of dishes in the menu, but also in delivery service and other promotion campaigns. 3. Company. McDonald's, one of the most successful fast food chains not only in its original country and industry, but also in the other interaction markets. Now they have restaurants in more than 120 countries around the world, providing iconic burgers. Now we see business performance. Performance of competitor. First, Jollibee, KFC, and Lotteria. Analyzing this table, competitors' performance is gradually increasing. See next. Most frequently visited fast food chains. First is KFC, and 2 is Lotteria, and 3 is Pizza Hut, 4 is McDonald's. It can be seen that McDonald's is losing in the competitive market. Now, let's find out McDonald's failure in Vietnam. McDonald's come out on the top in the fast food industry. However, they failed in Vietnam market. How did it happen? McDonald's failure factor. McDonald's used the Western pricing strategies in the East. A Big Mac in Vietnam cost $2.82. It seems reasonable if you are living in Korea. However, for the local customers, this is a premium price and something they only spend every once in a while. The idea of paying double for a burger, a glass of Coke, and some fries didn't appeal to Vietnamese customers. Another failure factor of McDonald's is that the local competition was so. As of 2018, there were around 540,000 food outlets in Vietnam, almost 430,000 out of which were local vendors. For decades, there was been a flourishing street food culture in this country. Food is readily available, whether it's on a land or water. Yes, you can even buy food from vendors who run their business from a boat. Compare this with McDonald's, a fast food restaurant that has a menu mostly comprised of burgers and drinks. The local didn't want to settle for a limited range of items because they had a lot of options, a lot of cheaper and traditional options. McDonald's menu was another factor for failure in Vietnam market. Their menu didn't coincide with the local culture of sharing food. As of 2018, there were around 540,000 food outlets in Vietnam, almost 430,000 out of which were local vendors. For decades, there has been a flourishing street food culture in this country. Food is readily available, whether it's on land or water. Yes, you can even buy food from vendors who run their business from a boat. Compare this with McDonald's, a fast food restaurant that has menu mostly comprised of burgers and drinks. The locals didn't want to settle for a limited range of items because they had a lot of options, a lot of cheaper and traditional options. It's the same as the previous one. Now, last conclusion. Jollibee, KFC, Lotteria is experiencing sharp growth. However, despite maintaining positive growth, the growth rate of these two fast food companies is very minor. Compared to 2018, KFC's revenue only increases by nearly 1.3%, which is lower than the average growth in 2014 to 2016. We found out that KFC is the most popular fast food brand in Vietnam. They have 43 branches in the country. Considering Vietnam's population, this is shockingly small. In a recent report that international players dominate the limited service restaurants market in Vietnam, since local independent chains are most small family-based businesses with insufficient resources to take on the big players.